Hi, today we are dealing with the second chapter of the sixth NCERT, that is on the trail of the earliest people. So in this chapter we'll be looking about the earliest people, that is hunter and gatherers. Before that, let us see in today's world why a person moves from one place to another. There might be various reasons, maybe related to job or in search of a better facilities like education, health facilities, or maybe if there's some war or unrest going in a place, it can all to escape that, it can move from one place to another, and maybe various other reasons. And for short term, maybe like taking a trip on a vacation, etc. Now we'll see why the earliest man, that is hunter and gatherer, moved from one place to another. Before going into the further chapter, I want to mention few things. Instead of seeing just the images, I want you to imagine this thing, whatever I'm saying, as a movie. Okay, so when I say imagine a place, you have to imagine that you are there in the place and you have to feel the surroundings. So when you do this, after the video, you'll see a huge impact for yourself. And one more thing, if I ask you to imagine, maybe if I ask you to imagine a tree, you can imagine a very huge tree or a very small tree. That's all left to you. Okay, so the more unusual your imagination is, more better you remember. And I also try to add few sounds in it, so it give you an real impact. So hope you enjoy this process. Let's go to that. Now imagine a place and imagine yourself as an hunter and gatherer, and the place where you're staying has lots of trees with fruits on it and lots of animals, and also few grasses are grown and with water body in it. Now instead of just seeing as a plain image, let's add sound to it. So now hear and feel the breeze. After breeze, now let's feel the animal. Now let's feel the water. Feel and hear the. Now since you have got the feel of a place, let's look at why the hunter and gatherer moved from one place to another. This is you. Okay, you are an hunter and gatherer, and you are staying in a place where there are lots of trees, animals and water, everything. But there's a situation which makes you to move from one place to another. Let's see what that situation is. So imagine you are in this place and one place, and you have eaten up all the fruits. You have eaten up all the fruits and animals at this place. So this place doesn't have any more fruits and animals for you to eat. So what do? You have to move from one place to another, right? In search of what? Fruits, trees, animals, etc. So the condition is, if you have eaten up the food at one place, you have to move to the another place. Now there are few trees, or if there are few fruits which have season, which grow only in a particular season, like you might have seen, like watermelon season, mango season, strawberry season, etc., which grows only at a particular season. So if this particular food is not available this season, you have to move to another place in search of a food which is available at that time. Okay. Now the other reason is, we have seen the first two reasons. Let's look at the other reasons. Now most and the herbivorous animals like deer, cow, they eat on grass. If the grass is exhausted or all eaten up at a place, it has to move from one place to another in search of a grass. So when the animals move from one place to another in search of a grass, the man who is depending on them should also move from one place to another in search of following the animals. So that becomes the third reason. Okay. Now the other reason is the water. See, if the water is dependent, or if water is dependent on rainfall, or it is seasonal. So let's see. Let's assume the water body is seasonal. So when there's no rainfall, the water body dries up. So there'll be no water left here. So when there's no water left at one place, you have to move to another place in search of water. Who all need water? Animals need water, so animals also move. Man need water, so he also moves. So these are the four reasons why the hunter and gatherer moved from one place to another. Now, revising the reasons, one is if we exhausted or if we have eaten up all the resources at one place, like fruits, animals, you have to move to the other place. The second reason is the animals which are dependent on the grass have to move from one place to another in search of grass if this grass at this place has been all eaten up. So when animals move from one place to another, the man who is dependent on animal also moves. Third reason is that every fruit has a season for it. So like few fruits are grown in a particular season, like as I said, watermelon, strawberry has a season, mango has a season. So at that particular time, if the fruit is not available, he has to move to another place in search of other fruit which is available at that time. Okay. Now the fourth reason is being the water. Water is being a very important resources for a man and animal. He moves from one place to another in search of water when a water body dries up. Many of you might be wondering that we, living in the 21st century, how did we know about the people who were living thousands of years ago? To our help, we have the archaeologist. Archaeologist is just like a scientist who study about the people and their culture. So they also study about the various items or the artifacts found on the ground or below the ground to know about the people who lived in the past. So what do archaeologists do? They study about the people and their culture, and they also search for artifacts or the items. From archaeologists, what do we know about this hunter and gatherers? We know that people made and used tools. Various the people, they made and used various tools which were made up of stone, wood, or bone. So once again, these people, they made and also used those tools which were made up of stone, wood, and bone. And we can also observe that as the time passed, the size of the tools it started decreasing, plus they also started becoming more sharper. So with the time, the size of the tools started decreasing and they were more sharper. Now again, let's go back to our imagination. This is you. So you have got a tool with you, stone tool. Let's imagine it to be a stone tool with you. So what can you do with this stone tool? You can use this to cut the fruits, right? You can use this to cut the fruits. You can also use this to cut the meat and bone of the animals, right? So this is the meat and this is the bone. You can use this stone tool to cut the meat and bone of the animals. With that, you can also use this to cut the bark of a tree, to scarp out the bark of the tree. Bark is nothing but the outermost layer of the tree. So with this tools, what and all we can do, we can cut the fruits, meat, bone. You can also use it to scarp the bark of the tree. So, and with this tool you can also dig the ground, and you can also use it to stitch the skin of the animal. Okay, so this is, now to revise, this is you have a small stone tool with you. You're using it cutting the fruit. Imagine you yourself cutting the fruit, and you are also using it to cut the meat and bone of the animals. We can also use it to stitch the skin of the animals, and they can use it to use it as a cloth. Okay, and you can also you're also using that tool to scarp out the bark of a tree. Okay, and plus you can also use it to dig the ground. So with the simple stone tool, you also had various other tools. Okay, so let's see what all tools you have with you. One was the spear. This here the tail is made up of either wood or bone, and this could be made up of stone or bone, since it has to be sharp. Okay, so spear appears something like this, and other tool you had was the arrow. So all of you must be familiar with the bone and arrow. So this was the arrow, and same thing, the tail was made up of wood or bone, and the sharp ones similar to this, stone or bone. So now, you being a hunter, these were the tools you were using. In the next part, let's see how did you make these tools. Okay.